But now the evacuation plan, I used to write emergency evacuation plans for clients who were either facing war, civil war, or natural disaster, or whatever might be the reason for companies to get out of a country, to escape. And crisis management plans for kidnap, for ransom, extortion, and piracy, and so on. And would train my clients in how to manage it, how to set up a crisis management team. I actually asked Tony Abbott how to get hold of the Australian government pandemic plan that had been written, I think, under his watch.
That's right.
I'm not blaming him.
No,
it's been
not
written
at all.
by a bureaucrat.
It was well written as well.
No, it wasn't.
No, I mean, there were things that he said in there. Sorry to take you off. I remember listening to him at the end of 2021. He said, look, we didn't put lockdowns in there. We actually didn't. And he said the reason we didn't do that was because we didn't put any of that. And the reason was if it was that bad, if the virus was that bad, people would do that themselves. But we didn't put that in there because we didn't think the government should have that sort of power. Sorry, you're right. It wasn't a good plan, but at least it didn't go to that extent.
What I found interesting was it was a plan that had been improved based on the experience of the avian bird flu. Which wasn't a huge pandemic, but again, there'd been a plan for it. So I applaud the fact that governments are planning. But I made a living writing plans, and I was trained by a very good, commercially minded, experienced crisis manager. And when I looked at this pandemic plan, in a crisis management team, there should be the ultimate decision maker, a single person. The crisis management team should be as small as possible, 3 to 5 people, and then you bring in specialists and ask them questions. You get their advice. You don't put them all in the same room and then have what do you think we should do? Should we do this or whatever? So you have a small team. When I looked at the plan, I could not work out who was the ultimate decision maker. There were 4 government bodies. There was the National Cabinet. Under that was COAG, and then there was something else. And then after that, there were about 12 or 14 bureaucracies. There were about 20 in total. And I finally decided it was number 14 was some medical bureaucracy that was calling the shots. And what we had was everybody. You had Dan Andrews, who destroyed Victoria, hiding behind the medical bureaucrats. You had Morrison doing the same thing. You had
Gladys.
Western Australia, Gladys. Yeah. They were listening to the experts. And my argument was, and they would say, we're doctors. And my argument, no, you're not. You've got a medical degree. You haven't practiced medicine for a long time. You are what you do. You're a bureaucrat. You're a bureaucrat, and you're not a very good bureaucrat either. And so they were giddy with excitement at the power they had, the control they had, telling prime ministers what to do and premiers what to do, with those the prime minister and the premiers gladly hiding behind them, and I'm just following the science, and so on. And so that was the failure of leadership there. But the plan was badly written. It was incoherent. Who's in charge? Who's the ultimate decision maker? And then, of course, when the decision was made in that bodgy cabinet that Morrison invented, which is not constitutional, whatever they agreed, as soon as the premiers went back to their states, they did something else. Oh, well done, Prime Minister. I can see who's in charge here.
And then they slagged each other to make ScoMo look bad. It's like, oh, look, the vaccines and this and that.
Exactly. I mean, it was just appalling.
It was appalling. And you know what's frustrating about the whole thing is it goes back to that issue of competency. Where are the adults? The adults have left the room. They're not in politics. We've got a bunch of children running around, slagging off against each other.